And now it's time for the latest exciting episode of Doz's Television Workshop.
Hello and welcome back to Doz's Television Workshop, where today we're going to be taking a look at this Sony KV 1330 UB colour television set from the mid-70s. Let's get into it. Right, before we get into it, let's just have a little overview of the set. For those of you that have been following me for a number of years, in fact before YouTube, I used to have a Sony 1320. Which was sort of earlier revision of this set, a lot heavier, but identical looking, except for this oddball coloured green sort of wood effect panel here. It was black on mine. I believe there was a wooden one as well, but mine was a very early set, and Sony had intended it to have a switch mode power supply, despite the fact it was designed in '69. Didn't really get it till '71, but yeah. It had a mains transformer, despite the fact on the back of mine it had all the labelling as though it was a switch mode power supply, but it didn't have one. And it also claimed it was all solid state, as does this one, despite the fact it had a valve EHT rectifier. Later versions of the 1320 did away with that. They weren't fully semiconductor, but mine had a valve in it. And the tube on mine was a peach. Possibly the easiest restoration I'd ever done, because I switched it on and basically set it up. There were some issues with picture centering, but I changed nothing other than the fuse, I think. So that's what had stopped that one from running. This is a later set. It has a switched mode power supply. Oh, the earlier set as well decoded PAL colour in a non-PAL manner to avoid paying Telefunken the license fee, which rumour has it was sort of 20 or 30 quid a set back in sort of 1970, which put the price up quite a lot. So they got round this by only decoding colour on every other line, and because the screen's quite a small 13-inch set, nobody really noticed the drop in chroma resolution. It did, however, need a hue control, which this set retains. Despite the fact, I think by the time this set had arrived, Sony had put their hand in their pockets and paid the license fee to Telefunken, and it does actually feature a PAL decoder. I will need to check that. I do have the schematics, courtesy of the lovely people at the VR80 forum. So, yeah, there are a couple of caveats we need to notice when working on this set. It also came in a portable plastic cabinet version as the KV 1300, I think, and yeah, it has issues, shall we say. So the issues are that the power supply is an early switched mode supply, and it tends to be a little bit stroppy. So we do need to make sure that the rails that come out of the power supply come up in the right order. So I believe there are two, maybe more rails. There's your main HT rail, 100 and something volts, and there's a 10 volt rail that drives the line oscillator. And I'm doing this from memory at the minute. I haven't even looked at the schematics yet. But if the line oscillator hasn't started by the time the HT rail comes up, it causes the horizontal output transistor, the line output transistor, to fail short. They were expensive when I was doing these in the sort of late 80s. I can imagine now they're utterly unobtainium, although there may be a more modern equivalent we can fit, or something obtainable that we could fit. But right at the minute, let's not take that risk. This set does work. Gareth plugged it in, and he's had results out of it. I have to say, he sent me some photographs. He said it's losing focus. It's not, it's losing line lock. But that bothers me, because if that line oscillator should fail, that's death to the output transistor, and we're in a world of pain. Let's not go there. So we need to look at the line oscillator. The tuner is stiff, so that wants sorting out. The tube also looked a bit sad in the red department. That might be a camera artifact, but we'll have a look. Maybe we can set it up. Maybe we can do something with it. These don't rejuvenate well at all. Yeah, that's what killed most of these sets. It was death through just being worn out. But yeah, right. So yeah, let's get brave, shall we? And turn it around and take the back off and see what's going on with this power supply. See if there's anything obvious before we apply power. That's the other thing, by the way. Do not, under any circumstances, run these on a lamp limiter or bring them up slowly on a variac. Therein lies madness and wanton destruction of parts. So, yeah, that's not going very well. That screw is in there. There we go. Now that is how the 1310, which is the last one of these I did, came apart. But like I said, that was 30 years ago. Right, I am going to have to disconnect the mains plug and get the case out of the way. So, oh dear. I can already see signs of gooey capacitors, which is not a lot of fun. Right, let's just fetch the mains plug off. It's non-compliant anyway, so I shall fit Gareth with a nice new one. There we go. So we can lose that mains plug. I'm going to put the back out of the way, or the cabinet I should say, out of the way, and there you have it. So yeah, usual muck and grime where the high voltage has attracted some horrible sticky dust. It's fitted with a 330 AB22 tube, and there it is in all of its glory. Right, this PCB over here, have we got that on camera anywhere? Oh, we have. That's good. This is I think the power supply, if memory serves. So horizontal center, horizontal size, that may be the line output stage then. Yes, linearity, tilt, pin cushion, horizontal frequency. That's the other thing you must never do when these sets are running, is just the line hold. If you spike that transistor, you're in a world of pain. This over here, however, is our power supply. So, yeah. And we are full of these sort of purple coloured capacitors. Can you see that there? I've banged the camera, haven't I, with the back. There we are. That's better. These sort of purple coloured capacitors. And they go either one or one way. There'll either be nothing wrong with them or they'll all be rubbish. So, yeah. Right, so I think the next thing to do is consult the service manual, and I need to make sure. I said it was a 10 volt rail at the start. Again, it was 30 years ago. It's actually 18 volts. The 18 volts needs to come up before the HT gets there, and then the whole thing starts oscillating, and that's how it works. So yeah, let us devise a scheme where we can safely bring this set on and see what's going on, and yeah, go from there. Right, let's have a look at the manual. Okay, so I've read up a little bit. There's a very interesting article on one of the websites about how to tackle one of these sets. So he says the first thing you need to do is check the tube. Well, I've got a sneaking suspicion the red gun's a bit low, but nothing we can do about that. So let's see if we can get the thing going first. Now, the way the power supply works is 18 volts comes on, supplies 18 volts to the line board here. The line oscillator starts, and then that synchronizes the switch mode. If that doesn't happen pretty quick, the HT starts to rise. All manner of hell breaks loose and we end up doing a lot of damage. So I think the first thing I want to do, especially as I've got a line hold fault, is to remove the line board and look at the condition of it and see if there's anything in there that's standing out at me. Interesting, that screw didn't appear to be very tight. Has somebody been here before? It's a short sort of coarse thread screw, that. We need to undo that one, I think. Oh, that is nice and tight, however, good. Again, short coarse thread. What else have we got? Is that now going to hinge out? Looking promising. One of those little plastic rivets there, so let's just give that a squeeze. Or shall I squeeze it from the back? Ah yes, I'll squeeze it from the back. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's our line oscillator board, and yeah, we've got capacitors where the jacket is that badly shrunk in places that it's actually cracked. Capacitors are bulging. Yeah, I'm not liking what I'm seeing at all. So that capacitor there is all crusty and horrible. So yeah, let's get an iron warm and get some of these replaced. Okay. As usual, let's get a dab of fresh solder on here. Doesn't look like it's had any rework over the years. Yeah, certainly not going to be aiding any particular pleasantness there, is it? I don't think that's glue, that is rotten capacitor. Let's have a little measure, shall we? It might be glue. So we're looking for 160, 33 microfarads. I think for the sake of it we'll just change it. 33 at 160 volts. That's going to be a little bit difficult to find, I think. Maybe not. We have a Nichicon 33 at 350, which will be more than enough for the job. So down here is one very swollen looking capacitor. The problem with these boards is the sort of wiring harness that goes across onto all these points. Makes it a little bit difficult to get at stuff. I'm just struggling to pinpoint where the cap actually is. Yeah. Again, lots of goo underneath it and a very shrunk jacket. It's supposed to be 4.7 mic at 100 volts. Let's have a little test. see 5 mic and a sensible value of ESR. 4.7 at 100 volts. You see, it's probably alright, but do I want to risk it? We need some more parts. Let's stop there and get stuff ordered. Okay, I'm back on Gareth's Sony, having had a haircut and having received a delivery of some capacitors from a reputable supplier. This time it was CPC. It does say they didn't have a lot in stock. Anyway, I left myself a note. We got a 4.7 mic 100 volt cap missing. I didn't manage to get any of those. And the nearest I could sort of get 4.7 at 160. And yeah, this is tiny compared with what came out, but anyway, it'll do. It'll be better than what was in there. So I've just got to look to see which way round it was. Ground is down. Okay, I shall replace that. Get it soldered up and carry on looking at the myriad of others that are in here. So soldering iron needs to go on. We'll want a bit of solder. There we go. Oh, by the way, there's been a slight change to the camera arrangements, hopefully to give you a bit of a better experience. I've now got more 4K cameras running, including this new pointy downy camera, which is an Insta360 Ace Pro, I believe is its full title. It seems to be very good, but like everything in this day and age, it's controlled by an app on your phone, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get on with that, to be honest. Not that I'm you know, dissing the app. It does seem to be very good. It's just that previously, you know, if I wanted to zoom in, you could just wind a button on the camera, and now I seem to be sort of fixed. But to be honest, I've been zooming in more in post, because the 4K camera, I can zoom in quite a way before it looks shoddy on a big screen, so we're fairly good. And the other thing is, it will shoot in 8K if I need to. 8K. Shan't be bothering with that for a while. Right, onward and upward. There are lots to get on with in here. So that was that cap down there. What else we got? This one's looking in awful condition. So let's fetch him out next. This is C520. We've just done C521. Oh, just shows you how bad it is. It's the jacket is coming apart in my hands. Looks to be 10 microfarads at so many volts, but what's hanging it up? There we are. Jeez, would you look at the state of that? That is really rough. Right, it once was 10 mic at 100 volts. Let me just open my Insta360 app quickly. Yeah, because I can see I've got a preview on here that I don't actually want. I want it on the screen. To return to the menu, you must stop recording. You see what I mean about an app? So where are we? Can we focus down that short? You can. Pretty good. But you can see this capacitor's absolutely shot away. It's been leaking. The bottom plug is bulged out at an angle. Yeah, that's not in good condition. We can add that to our pot of, what's it? Pot of failures. 10 mic at 100 volts. What have we got? I got 10 mic at 250. The onward going march of technology has once again shrunken that right down. There's a couple above it. I think remove and test is going to be order of the day. If that one's bad, I wonder how good these are going to be. Yeah, it's just as sick, isn't it? That's 10 mic again, 160 volts this time. Was that one really 100 volts? Why is the 160 volt component smaller? 10 mic. Definitely 100 volts. But that's 10 mic at 160 and it's slightly smaller. Never mind. And there's a little 25 volt fella just above. C522, and that also looks very swollen. And we have our first unidexter. It's only got one leg.
A role that is traditionally associated with a two-legged man.
Yeah, horrible. Right. Okay, let's get in there and fetch that other leg out. Right, what was that? Again, another 100 mic. Only 25 volts this time. Right, 100 mic. That was a 50 volt. That'll do nicely. Sony, by the way they draw their capacitors, if I just draw it out, they are marked on the board, but they're a little bit odd. So they mark them, the symbol on the board is like that. And this is your negative, and that one is your positive. So yeah, that's how they're marked up on the board. So yeah, that's something to be aware of. Right, this is becoming very concerning really, because so far every capacitor I've taken out has been rotten. So this is going to be quite a long drawn out process, I think. There is a capacitor up under there somehow. Yeah, they're not looking great. There's one down right down here. I haven't got to this end of life, have I? So perhaps we ought to have a look at him. Some of these smaller ones I'm hoping are alright, otherwise we've got quite a lot of work to do. But well, it is what it is. So yeah, let us carry on with this stack of capacitors over here and just fetch this one out. I think it's under that wire that says D on it. So yeah, it is. Just going to disconnect that wire out of the way, I think. This capacitor looks lovely. I wonder what it tests like. 25 volts at 10 microfarads, so let's get the old capacitor checker out and see what it's looking like. Right. 10 microfarads, 3 ohms. Well, precious little wrong with that. You can go back in, my friend. That's sort of a bit of good news. There we go, it's wire D attached back on. So, what else we got that looks like it might be horrible? There is that capacitor down there, but it does look in very good condition. Let's just see if we can test it in circuit. 23.74 microfarads. I can't see what value that is. Just tilt the setup, see if I can see the value written on it. I can't, but we do have a schematic, so let's just check that. It is C532. Yeah, 22 microfarads at 16 volts, so I'm quite happy that that's going to live to fight another day. I've got a 4.7 at 50 over here that's looking a little bit stressed, and it's right by all this stuff in here. Okay, I think it goes between that pad and the orange pad next to it, so let's just have a little look in there. .3, 3.7 ohms. Yeah, sounds about right. What about this one over here? .4, 0.44 ohms. Does look distressed. C535. 535. 20 mic at 100 volts. We've got 23 mic. No, that's looking good. C540 is next to it. In circuit or leaky, yeah. So the peak instrument is able to measure certain capacitors in circuit, but if it does manage to spot something that, you know, has got quite a low value resistor, say for example across it, or something else which is loading it down, it can't get a sensible reading, words, it'll let you know. Yeah, that doesn't look great. 6.3 volts. My hatred of the 6.3 volt rated capacitor. Is it going to come back and bite me? 6.3 volts, 330 microfarads. Okay. Yep, that's shot away. 330 mic. 330 mic. Right, much more stuff to test. That one was alright. There were 3 down the bottom here. So let's just give those a check. I've got C508. That's it. In circuit and leaky. Okay, he's got to come out. C504. 1.5 mic. 3.9 ohms. Let's just have a look. C504. 1 mic at 50 volt. Yeah, well, that's reasonable. C504, and we've got another one in there. C506. Open circuit or low capacitance. Okay, so C508 we need to check, and C504. It's failed so badly the meter's not even picking it up, so we need 10 mic 16 volts to go in there. Which was the other one that was faulty? It was the one above it, wasn't it? C506. Got a sneaking suspicion it's that fella there, isn't it? Ah, I think I was measuring between the wrong 2 pins before. So that's 5 mic. That's C504. C504. Let's have a look on the diagram. C504. Yeah, 1 mic at 50 volts. So why are we reading 5? Don't like that. Yeah, in fact I can see it. It wouldn't have taken me long to spot that one at all. Okay, let's get it out. Hang on a minute. No, C504 is the one next to it. I reckon that's C506. Okay, back to the drawing board. C506. C506, 4.7 mic, 47 volts. Let's triple check. That is... that's the one we've been measuring. It's this one here. 5.4, and it is C506. C506 4.7, you see, that's all right as well. They're only small capacitors, so the ESR is going to be a little bit higher. But we've had plenty of failures so far, haven't we? C535 was good, that one down there was good. We've got a load in this bottom corner that are going to be horrible to get at, but we've got to go around them. Right, let's start at the bottom here. What have we got? We have got C527 and 528 are the ones in the corner. Can't see what value they are. So 527 and 528. 527 and 528. Right, I've been and had a bit of my Sunday lunch. These two capacitors were a bit of a bitch to find on the diagram, to be honest, but found them I have, and it is all good. So, yeah, we're happy that our board is now in reasonable condition. So, next thing to do is put our 18 volt supply on pin 27 of this board and make sure we've got a horizontal drive waveform. Very important to do that, because if we don't and that waveform isn't present when the HT comes up, it will wreak havoc. Will damage a lot of unobtainium silicon, and yeah, I'll have a bad day. So as long as we've got line pulses arriving at our line driver transistor on the base of there, I'm good. Then we move over to the power supply and we do the same crusty electrolytic check on that before finally switching on. So next thing to do is find out where on earth pin 27 is. There's 27 there. Okay. As you can see, point 27 is where that wire is going. So it is that blue wire there. Okay. I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to get another piece of wire and just solder that in there. That's it. There's pin 27. So this is going to be my 18 volts. I'm going to put the power supply on. We're going to set that to 18 volts. I choose a sensible current limit. Okay, and we're going to need our oscilloscope connected. Nothing can possibly happen at the moment, so other than the line oscillator should start. Oh my goodness. Let's get that round the right way. That's it. Okay, so yeah. Pop the set back down. No mains or anything connected. I need to start the scope up. And to that end, I shall put scope cam on as well. Choose a suitable piece of metalwork for our grounding. In fact, there's a ground point down here. It'll do very nicely. Okay. Where is our horizontal drive transistor? Q504. I'd have thought it'd be this one, but I may be wrong there. Might only be a little fella, mightn't it? Q504. I got him. He is buried right in there. I think I can just see him in there. So that is where we shall start looking. So I've got a sensible current limit set. Okay, we are consuming 26 milliamps. And I don't appear to be having any line oscillator. Ah, yes I do. What's that? Let's give that a quick set. I'm running slightly low in frequency, running at 13 kilohertz. You're slightly off screen there, aren't you? Let's wiggle you about a bit. So yeah, it should be at 15.625 for PAL. We're at 13 point something. Okay, well, it's working, so that's good. Just switch that off for a second. What I'm going to do is going to get a can of deoxit and just give the line hold a bit of a birthday, which should be 501 over there. Yeah, it also looks like it's all the way over one side, so let's just give that a bit of a birthday and move it about a bit. Then have a look back on there and set it for 15.625, so there we go. 15.3. .5. Of course, when the set's got sync, this should lock anyway. Let's give it every chance. Not sure that drive waveform's looking very nice. So let me just have a look on there. I'm going to go and see if we've got an oscillogram in the service sheet. Okay, so this is the base of our horizontal drive transistor here. Unfortunately, we haven't got an oscillogram there. We have sort of got one at 10. So I think we want to look at that. 11, we need to have the 110 volt present, which we obviously don't because we haven't got the set plugged in yet. So oscillogram 10, which is on the bottom of R518 there, which feeds the Q503. So oscillogram 10, if we scroll up a million miles, oscillogram 10, there we go, 6 volt peak to peak horizontal. So we should see our 15.625 kilohertz there, about 6 volts peak to peak. I've set up the scope probe on the board down here. Power supply is going on. Let's see what happens. And yeah, it looks pretty much the same as our screenshot oscillogram in the service manual. And yeah, 5.8 volts peak to peak. I'm calling that a win. So I'm happy that our line board is now sensible. What have we got? 15.64 kilohertz. That's near as damn it is to swear in. So yeah, almost time to consider putting on the power supply. But we need to do the crusty electrolytic check first, just to make sure we're not going to do any damage. So that is now good. We can put that wire right now, I think. So actually I'll just leave it there for a minute. So let's swing the set about a bit. Just have a look at the power supply, which is on this side over here. It's very simple, but we have got a few of those purple kind of electrolytics in there, which I think I'm going to want to get out and have a look at. So it's 22 mic at 400 volts. Clearly that'll be our mains input smoothing. And I know this set's run recently, so I'm not worried about that so much. but yeah, maybe these little ones here. Yeah. Okay, so let's just bite the bullet and take these out, I think. So this is C608. I have to have a splash of fresh solder in there to get that to come out. And it does look in very good health actually. 33 mic, 160 volts. You can guarantee that's on the output of the power supply, I think. So let's just test that. There is a very sick looking capacitor underneath it. Those spiky probes are very good, but I just find them a little bit too bendy and what have you for getting in on stuff when you've removed it from the board. Let's just put the croc clips across it. 48 mic, 0.14 ohms. Yeah, I think we're very happy with that. Whilst I can see it, we can see that on the camera, but this 160 mic 1 mic is horribly swollen. So I'm not swollen, shrunk. The jacket's all puckered up on it, so I'm just going to take it out and have a measure. Think I'm going to be replacing this one anyway. Don't like the look of it. Yeah, and it's all crusty and horrible. So let's just give it a measure, but I don't like the look of it. It's coming out, never to be seen again. Open circuit, low capacitance, there we go. Wow, okay, so 1 mic at 160 volts. Okay. Right, that should make things a bit happier. The reason I'm going through all this before even risking switching on is because if it doesn't come up in the right order, as I say, the HT rail goes through the roof, all hell breaks loose, so we won't be wanting to do that. There we go. Right, there's another small capacitor down there. I think just, there are a couple of other electrolytics actually. Can we see what value they are from here? It is C614. Let's just pop the tester on him and see what it looks like. He's good. There's another one right in there. He's good. Yeah, I'm just going to pop across our mains reservoir. In fact, that's not the mains reservoir because it's not the big can. But we'll just go across it. 23, it's supposed to be 22, can't say fair on that. 1.89 ohms. This is the mains reservoir here. Yeah. I think we're in a reasonable state. So I'm just going to go back to the diagram, scratch my head a lot because I am nervous about bringing this set on. I know it's been running recently, but it's had issues and I don't want to get this wrong. So I'm just going to scratch my loaf and yeah, think about this for a minute. Back in a moment. Right, okay, so here's what I've done. I have got the set on a variac because there's a way we can do it. I've got a 60 watt bulb hanging in as a load across our 110 volt line, and that's what I want to measure. That is okay, and we're not consuming silly amounts of current. I'm measuring the voltage across my 110 volt rail here with this meter. I have disconnected pin 7 of the line transformer, which will stop the line stage starting. So now I just need to bring it up on the variac. I need to keep an eye on the variac current as well. So this is our main HT rail. So that should get to 110 volts. I'm just starting to get a glow on the lamp there. Whoa. Okay, I'm starting to draw serious current from the mains. So that was 1/4 amp or so, which is far too much, unless it's the degauss, of course. Let me just bring that up again. It's there where I'm starting to draw current. Whoa! Okay. Yes, right. Good. Something foul smelling has let the smoke out. At least we now know where the fault is. Phew. Right, I'm going to leave. I'll see you back in a minute. Oh dear. Well, that was dramatic. I think I found the fault. There is a capacitor right down the front of the signals board that looks like it's let go. So what I've done is I've just disconnected the 110 volt rail from the signals board. I've got the 18 volt rail from the power supply running still. So it's definitely not sitting on that. So fingers crossed, this time it should just start up. We're looking for 110 volts on the meter here. So on with the variac. There we go, 40, 50 volts. I'm not pulling any significant current this time. And there you go, we seem to be steady at 114 volts. That's a little bit high. So I just want to reduce that voltage now. So let me just switch that out for a second. And turn our 110 volt rail down just a shade. Which is on this pot here. So let me just do that and run it again. Still connected, yep. Still too high. I don't want to adjust it as it's running really. That would be bad. So okay. Still too much. Could be a bit of an iterative process. I wonder if I'm going the wrong way. Let's try it down there. It's not adjusting it at all. Oh, crumbs, I haven't got the 18 volts on. That's probably why. Okay, let's try again. There we go, 110 volts. Now I'm a happier man. Now that proves the point that the HT is unregulated when the 18 volts isn't going. Right, good job, we were in the controlled condition. Right, we've now got 110 volts. We haven't got any smoke. I've got that capacitor to change on that board. And I think then we should be able to fire up and see what else goes bang, I suppose. Right. Come back in a minute. I've got that capacitor changed, got the 110 volts back up. Yeah, never tested it without the external 18 volts. Not got that on anymore. I'm just going to switch it on and give it the beans. Let's see how bad this CRT really is. Well, we had a rustle of EHT as it came up, so that's good news. Not getting much in the way of a picture. I have got the output from my skybox in, so we might have to give this a swerve if it... Oh my word. I think we've just found the world's worst CRT. Let's see if we get anything now. My goodness, is that weak? Wow, there is barely a picture there. Yeah, that is nothing short of awful. Right, well, I'll tell you for something now. There is no way we can put the old B&K or leader on there and tickle the tube. It won't have it. It will just fall over straight away. Yeah, that is pretty grim news. Yeah, I will just check the presets, but I suspect that is just worn out. You can't win them all, can you? So I'm just going to do a few cursory checks and then see if we can't adjust it up a bit, but I doubt that very much. The one thing we do have to have a look at is the first anode voltage, just to make sure that's there, because that's got a cap across it. And looking at the stuff we did have on this set, it could well be that, yeah, it's just tired out. Right, not good news. Let's crack on. Right, well, because the tube is so miserably low, I'm trying a process called non-destructive tube rejuvenation. I haven't done this for a long time. I did have it work once before, and we got nothing to lose here. So basically what I've got basically is a capacitor reformer, which is running at about 145 volts. I've got 6.3 volts from the workshop power supply driving the heaters. I have got currently the blue gun undergoing a bit of current limited reverse bias, if you like. So yeah, we will see what happens. Currently, I mean, the tube, it's miserable. We're currently flowing 35.4 microamps, but it is slowly working its way north. So I'll report back once I've sort of done all three guns, maybe sometime. So, after a little bit of experimentation with non-destructive tube rejuvenation, I'm happy to report the blue gun came up very well. Unfortunately, the red and the green gun just have nothing left to give. So if we switch on and wait for things to warm up a little, I will dim the workshop lights, despite the fact that we now have a working blue gun. Things are still not great. As you can see, we have a very blue raster and very little of anything else. There is a shade of red in there as well, but yeah, it's just done its time, I'm afraid. And that was the problem with these sets. They were just so superbly reliable from new that people just wore them out. And yeah, I don't think this set has ever been repaired before. Clearly it's been in storage, I would imagine, for a number of years, and those capacitors are just leaked and failed, or maybe they were failing when the set was put away, just because the tube was so low. Anyway, it's not good news. However, there may be a solution on the horizon. Gareth, who owns this set, has been given a 1320 set, which is this set's elder brother, that has featured on this channel before. Not my set, but another model of the same one. I think it's a Mark II, but all the 13-inch sets up to 1340, up to and including 1340, I think, use the same tube, which is a 330 AB22. And if the tube is any good in that set, we're going to investigate transplanting it. So there we go. So all is maybe not quite lost as yet. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish, and I'll see you really soon here on Doz's Television Workshop. Cheers now. Bye. Little bit sad. Little bit sad.
With a gentle hand, he brings them back in line. Every twist and turn makes the magic shine. Cathodes and the crackle of the tubes amidst the dust. They play nostalgic tunes, solder smoke, and the faint aroma of time in each repair. An art that's so prime. Where wires twist and spark, fix the picture, bring back color in the dark. Screens that buzz, it's magic on display. Old TVs revived in a brand new way. to the door. Tubes and screens like you've never seen before. Pulses hum as sparks begin to fly. In this tiny shop, dreams are set too high. With a touch of love, your picture's clear and true. In Doz's hands, pixels flicker back to life and stand. Microchips and vintage heart in a world of screens playing their parts. Circuit boards with stories to untangle. Every wire a promise as an angle. With steady hands as Dottie bends the light through the lens, creating onyx nights. Oscillators creating sonic waves, bringing back the charm of retro days. Capacitors and resistors. In Dozzy's touch, there's no misfire. Transistors dance to the rhythm of repair. Through the glow, feels like magic fills the air. Voltage pulses, the tune's melodic run. A symphony of sparks where the work is never done. In Dozzy's show,